Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Let us take a look at the headlines first. 18-member committee will ensure equal opportunities for women in science. Diagnosing septicemia made easy. And in our special segment, Technology You Can Use, we will learn about a novel ASU making machine simplifying the lives of Pochampalli silk weavers. In our In Focus segment today, we will discuss about the menace of malaria and the significance of World Malaria Day. And now the news in detail. India is today known worldwide for its research acumen, and women play a major role in science. But are women receiving enough encouragement and promotion in the field of science? Well, now an 18-member standing committee will ensure equal opportunities for women in science in the country. Let us have a look.
From Gargi to Dr. Anandibai Joshi and Asima Chatterjee and many more, India has a rich heritage of women researchers and academicians who have left behind their legacy and marks in the sands of time. But is women representation in science and technology in India falling? Why are women not getting enough opportunities in academic institutions, research and development laboratories, and science and technology organizations in the country? Addressing this issue of low representation of women in science and technology and planning and policy making, the Union Ministry of Science and Technology has constituted a standing committee for promoting women in science.
बहुत सारी महिलाएं हैं जिन्होंने पढ़ाई की हुई है, हायर एजुकेशन ली हुई है साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में, लेकिन ड्यू टू फैमिली रीज़न वो अपने आगे उसको करियर को परस्यू नहीं कर पाती हैं। तो डिपार्टमेंट का एक बहुत प्रोएक्टिव मोड रहा है और शायद कंट्री में हम बहुत ही स्टार्टिंग फेज़ में ही हमने ये महिलाओं के बारे में सोचना स्टार्ट किया था। तो अभी इस कमेटी का ये रोल होगा कि हम आगे और कैसे इनोवेटिवली महिलाओं को साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में इन्वॉल्व करें, उनको कैसे प्रमोट करें, उनके जो इश्यूज़ हैं उनको कैसे रिजॉल्व करें।
The 18-member standing committee for promoting women in science will be chaired by Professor H.S. Savitri from the Indian Institute of Science.
The committee will be more like an umbrella organization or setup which will actually guide, mentor, monitor, review and also give us the lead in deciding on what kind of programs and projects which are more suitable for bringing more women into science and technology and engineering and mathematics, how to increase their participation, how to increase their level of participation.
ये प्रायोरिटी डिसाइड करेंगी कि हमें इनको प्रमोट करने के लिए क्या क्या किया जाए। और अगर जैसे मान लीजिए कि आज हमारे पास एक कोई स्कीम चल रही है विमेन इन साइंस का, तो उसमें क्या कमी है, उसको कैसे इम्प्रूव किया जाए, यही वो डिसाइड करेंगे और उसको इम्प्रूव करने के क्या क्या और तरीके अपनाए जाएं, यही उनका मैंडेट रहेगा।
The committee will work towards creating gender-enabling environment in science and technology institutions in the country, along with identifying measures to promote women representations in science, recommend programs designed specifically for fostering, utilizing and supporting women in science, and monitor periodically implementation of its various recommendations.
Septicemia or sepsis is a toxic condition that claims many lives every year globally. Let alone developing nations, the condition is a leading cause of death even in countries with advanced healthcare facilities. Now here comes a low-cost, easy-to-use bedside device which will ensure quick diagnosis of septicemia. The device has been developed by 2 Indian researchers and has the potential to save many lives in the coming years.
Fever, increased heart rate, confusion, dropping blood pressure and platelet count, organ failure. These are but the few symptoms of a life-threatening condition called septicemia or sepsis. Invasion of the bloodstream by virulent microorganisms and especially bacteria along with their toxins from local site of infection, accompanied especially by chills, fever and prostration, also called blood poisoning. A leading cause of death worldwide, septicemia needs quick diagnosis within few hours or the chances of death are quite high. Traditionally, septicemia is diagnosed through blood culture, which require approximate 4 days for results. But now, detecting septicemia has been made quick and easy with the bedside septicemia diagnosis device developed by an IIT Delhi researcher, Professor Shalini Gupta, in collaboration with Dr. Venkatraman Sridharan of Global Medical Education and Research Foundation, Hyderabad. The device is a colorimetric rapid car test which detects the levels of endotoxin in human blood serum. These endotoxins are major constituent of the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, which reside in human gut and are known to cause sepsis. The science behind the technology is fairly simple and involves use of an antibiotic called colistin, which can bind to endotoxins. Colistin combined with gold nanoparticles, which are red in color, when added to human serum samples, bind to the endotoxins depending upon their concentration in blood. As the concentration of endotoxins in blood increases with the severity of infection, the binding of drug gold complex also increases and the color of red deepens, indicating the extent of infection.
As we take a drop of blood from, let's say, a patient, and then we put the drop of blood, process it to remove the red part, the RBC part. We process it to bring it to a plasma or a serum level. We then take this drop and put it on the membrane. Now, this membrane has specific affinity for the biomarker we are looking at, in this case the endotoxin. The endotoxin gets bound, rest of the liquid sort of flows through. Now we have these special particles that we have designed in our lab, which actually have been optimized to only bind to this particular biomarker. So when we inject this suspension of particles on top of the membrane, everywhere where there is no biomarker, you get a clear background, but only where the endotoxin exists, you get a concentration dependent color intensity spot, a colorimetric spot appearing, and this happens within 5 minutes.
On the contrary, when sample from a healthy person is placed on the membrane of the device, there is no binding to endotoxins and the gold nanoparticles pass through the membrane, showing no color. Besides quick and easy diagnosis, the added advantages of the device includes its low cost, disposable nature, and that its operation doesn't require highly trained manpower and sophisticated microbiology laboratory. The device, for its innovative design and potential application, has been awarded the Gandhian Young Technology Innovation recently. The device, already validated on 80 sepsis samples, is set to revolutionize healthcare, especially in rural areas lacking access to advanced diagnostic and healthcare facilities.
The rich colors and textures of woven Pochampalli silk often fails to reflect the immense drudgery involved in the process of weaving. One of the crucial aspects of Pochampalli silk weaving requires intense use of hands, which often leads to shoulder and elbow problems. Now, an innovative ASU making machine will go a long way in removing the drudgery involved in the weaving. Let us see how.
India, the land of art and culture, traditions, which are being carried on for centuries. Among the variety of rich artistic crafts that are part of Indian culture, a crucial form is silk weaving that results in beautiful fabrics and saris. Of the various types of silk and silk saris that are weaved in the country, the Pochampalli silk, manufactured in the southern India, has a huge demand worldwide. The saris made of colorful silk thread are hand-woven by the artists. This tedious and cumbersome process called asu by the weavers involves to and fro moving of the hand thousands of times. Chintakindi Mallesham, born in a traditional weaver's family in a small village of Nalgonda, Andhra Pradesh, has been watching the process of weaving and asu making for years now. The tedious process and the drudgery involved in asu has been the cause of constant shoulder ache suffered by his mother. This has inspired Mallesham to come up with a new device to mechanize the process of asu.
ये मशीन का नाम लक्ष्मी आसू मशीन। ये मशीन पोचमपल्ली साड़ी के लिए डिज़ाइन आएगा इसमें। ये पहला ये मशीन ये मेरा माम करते उसका बहुत दर्द आएगा। इसको काम कम करने के लिए ये मशीन बना दिया। ये मशीन बना दिया कि 7 साल हुआ। अभी मैनुअल कर सकते 6 घंटा 5 to 6 घंटा लगता। इसका मशीन पे 1.5 घंटे में हो जाता। ये थोड़ा पावर सप्लाई सिंगल फेस का पावर सप्लाई है तो वो चले गया। 250 वाट्स का पावर ज़रूरत है उसको।
Mallesham's machine, called the Lakshmi Asu machine, dedicated to his mother, is an automatic asu making machine. The machine is fitted with microcontroller, motor, energy control system and transfer of thread between spindles. The weaver using the machine only needs to mount the threads on the machine while the machine creates the entire pattern automatically. While making asu with hand requires 5 to 6 hours, the new machine accomplishes the task in 1.5 hours. Presently, the asu machines are being used by about 600 weavers of the state, with which the number of saris manufactured and in turn the income has increased. The machine has also come as a relief to the women of the weaving community by decreasing work drudgery.
And now it is time to take a short break. We'll be right back. Keep watching Science Monitor. Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
In an exciting new discovery, archaeologists in Peru have unearthed a 4,500-year-old mummy. The mummy, which experts believe belongs to a noble woman, was found buried in the ancient fishing village of Aspero in northern Peru. The objects buried with the mummy features carved details of coastal and jungle animals like birds and monkeys. The discovery, according to researchers, might provide novel insights into the ancient Carol civilization, which existed in these zones around 2600 BCE, even before the Inca. In line with signing of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, India has urged developed countries to declare their action plan for the second period of Kyoto Protocol. The second part of the Kyoto Protocol will last for a period of 5 years from 2016 to 2020 and will play a major role in mitigating climate change. India has also called for developed nations to share technologies to combat climate change at a reasonable price.
Come monsoons and the menace of mosquitoes crops up. With this comes the terror of malaria. Now, one of the leading causes of death across the world, malaria poses risk to almost half of the world's population. Prevention and treatment of malaria has been a major focus of research and policy making across the world for years now. And addressing these efforts is the World Malaria Day, celebrated globally on 25th of April. What is malaria and how to prevent it? Let us explore what this year's World Malaria Day is all about in our next segment, In Focus.
438,000 deaths and 214 million new cases. The WHO statistics for malaria for the year 2015 are horrifying. According to experts, about 3.2 billion people are today at the risk of malaria. The number accounts to almost half of the world's population, with major threat involving African and Asian population. Today, centuries after the symptoms and causes of malaria are well described, 25th of April every year is observed as the World Malaria Day. For hundreds of years, researchers and doctors explored new ways of prevention and treatment for malaria until in April 1894, when the Scottish physician Sir Ronald Ross, working in the Presidency General Hospital in Calcutta, solved the first part of the mystery. Malaria has always been such a huge medical concern that so far research in malaria has fetched 3 Nobel Prizes for physiology or medicine. In 1902, Sir Ronald Ross, for isolating malarial parasite from salivary glands of mosquitoes and proving that mosquito was the vector for malaria in humans. In 1907, Charles Louis Alphonse Laveran, for discovering that parasitic protozoans Plasmodium are causative agents of malaria. 2015, Miss Tu Yu, for discovering a novel therapy against malaria called artemisinin. Malaria is a highly contagious disease caused by a group of single-celled parasitic microbes called protozoans belonging to the family Plasmodium. 5 species of Plasmodium are generally known to infect humans, of which Plasmodium, falciparum and P. vivax are major forms. These microbes are spread by transmission vectors, female Anopheles mosquitoes, that feed on human blood. The infective form of parasite from mosquito saliva enters the blood during a bite. This infective form, called the sporozoite, travel to the liver where they mature and reproduce to form merozoites, which in turn invade human red blood cells and later destroy them. Based on the microbe and vector, various types of malaria are known. Infection results in fever, usually towards evening, fatigue, vomiting and headaches. If left untreated, infection can lead to circulatory shock, relapses, coma and death. Young children and pregnant women are at particular risk of malaria. The major risks associated with malaria drove the 60th session of the World Health Assembly in May 2007 to declare 25th April as World Malaria Day. The day recognizes the global efforts to control malaria and aims to promote education and understanding of malaria.
The general awareness among the public it should be raised for malaria, because it's treatable disease, and it's a disease which can be controlled by simple treatment. The diagnosis is very simple. A simple clinical examination will lead to the diagnosis, and mortality can be prevented. Since falciparum malaria, which is also known as brain fever, can be fatal, this fatality can be prevented if we spread awareness among the people about the malaria. So World Malaria Day is very important day where we can through public information, through radio, through television, we can impart this information to the people that malaria can be prevented, and there are very simple ways to prevent it.
This year, the World Malaria Day is themed End Malaria for Good and strives for a malaria-free world by 2030. Today, malaria is diagnosed through antigen-based tests of blood samples and cured using various drugs like chloroquine and sulfadoxine pyrimethamine. But preventing malaria is the first step towards its management. To achieve this, destroy the breeding grounds of mosquitoes like old tires, cans or flower pots that collect rain. Regularly change the water in outdoor bird baths, pets' water dishes and water coolers. Use mosquito repellents and mosquito nets. When outdoors, wear long-sleeved shirts and long pants tucked into socks. When indoors, use air conditioning if available. Make sure window and door screens are secure and free of holes. Once symptoms are detected, the patients should be isolated and provided proper rest with plenty of fluids and quick medical counsel. Malaria is today a worldwide problem, and as long as specific vaccines and improved cures are available, prevention is our only weapon. Hence, this World Malaria Day, let us join hands to eliminate mosquitoes and eradicate malaria.
And now we have in store for you a special segment on NASA's video of polar lights. When atomic particles interact with the Earth's magnetic field, the result is a visual treat, a brilliant display of light known as the polar lights. While the phenomenon is called Aurora Borealis in Arctic region, it is called Aurora Australis in the Antarctic. Now, capturing the beauty and magnificence of these natural phenomenon is NASA's new ultra-high-definition video of the polar lights. Filmed on the International Space Station, the ultra-high-definition video shows Aurora Borealis and Aurora Australis as seen by an astronaut. Take a look.
NASA, for a very long time now, has been giving the common man a peek into the mysteries of the vast universe through its images. Now, NASA is back with another visual treat that is sure a breath stopper. NASA has recently released an ultra-high-definition video of the polar lights captured from the International Space Station. The time-lapse video shot from the ISS showcases the magnificent and ethereal beauty of the phenomenon called Aurora Borealis and Aurora Australis, more popular as polar lights, from an astronaut's point of view. The Aurora Borealis, also known as the Northern Lights, is seen in northern latitudes like Arctic, while the Aurora Australis, known as the Southern Lights, can be seen in high southern latitude areas in Antarctica, Chile, Argentina, New Zealand and Australia. The phenomenon, which is experienced as a beautiful and vivid display of lights in the sky, is the result of interaction of atomic particles with the Earth's magnetic field.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific. Bye-bye.